Get ready to learn some interesting facts about pretty much everything while you fall asleep. Also, please consider subscribing to the channel as these videos take a while to make. Without further ado, let's get started. Humans share about 60% of their DNA with bananas. While it might sound strange, humans and bananas share roughly 60% of their DNA sequences. This doesn't mean humans are half bananas, but rather reflects shared ancient genetic building blocks. All living things descended from common ancestors, which is why we have many genes in common with plants. The shared genes typically control fundamental cellular processes, such as metabolism and DNA replication. It highlights the unity of life on Earth, despite huge differences in appearance and function. Our distant connection to plants underscores how evolution reuses successful genetic tools. Even something as different as a fruit and a mammal can reveal deep biological kinship. This genetic overlap surprises many, but is a testament to evolutionary history. It's a reminder that life's diversity is built on common molecular foundations. In the grand tree of life, we're all branches of the same ancient roots. Some ants can build living bridges with their bodies. Army ants form bridges using only their own bodies to help their colony traverse gaps. Each ant links legs with its neighbors, creating a strong, flexible structure. The bridge adjusts dynamically. Ants leave or join the structure as needed based on traffic. Researchers have observed that the ants optimize the bridge for efficiency, not just stability. If the bridge becomes too long and costly in manpower, ants will dismantle and shorten it. These living structures can remain in place for hours or even days. No single ant coordinates the action. It's entirely based on local interaction rules. It's an example of swarm intelligence in its purest form. The colony essentially functions as a living, shape-shifting organism. They don't just build their environment, they become it. Wombat poop is cube-shaped. One of the strangest marvels in the animal kingdom is the cube-shaped poop of the wombat. Native to Australia, these marsupials produce around 80 to 100 cube-shaped droppings per day. The function of this odd shape? It helps the poop stay in place and not roll away, marking territory more effectively, especially since wombats often place them on rocks or logs to maximize scent spreading. But how does a round intestine produce a cube? Scientists were puzzled for years until a 2018 study revealed that the wombat's intestines have regions that stretch more and regions that contract more sharply. As the feces dries out during its long journey through the intestine, these contractions shape it into a neat cube. It's a remarkable example of nature engineering an unexpected solution to a practical problem and has even inspired research into new industrial manufacturing techniques. Bananas are berries, but strawberries aren't. Botanically speaking, the banana qualifies as a berry, while strawberries do not. This surprising fact stems from the botanical definitions rather than common culinary usage. A berry, by scientific standards, is a fruit produced from the ovary of a single flower with seeds embedded within the flesh. Bananas fit this description perfectly. They grow from a single ovary, and their tiny seeds are dispersed throughout the fruit's interior. Strawberries, on the other hand, develop from a flower with multiple ovaries, making them aggregate fruits. The small seeds on their exterior are technically called achenes, each one a separate ovary with its own seed inside. This means the red fleshy part we eat isn't even the actual fruit in botanical terms. It's the enlarged receptacle of the flower. So the next time you make a fruit salad, you'll know which ingredients are posing as berries and which ones are the real deal. Octopuses have 3 hearts and blue blood. An octopus is an alien among us, at least biologically. Not only do they have 3 hearts, but their blood is blue, and their brains are spread throughout their bodies. 2 of their hearts pump blood to the gills, while the third pumps it to the rest of the body. What's even more fascinating is that the main heart actually stops beating when the octopus swims, which is part of why they prefer crawling to swimming. Their blue blood comes from a copper-based molecule called hemocyanin, which is more efficient than hemoglobin at transporting oxygen in cold and low-oxygen environments. This evolutionary adaptation allows them to thrive in deep, chilly oceans. Octopuses also have more neurons in their arms than in their central brain, allowing each limb to operate semi-independently. This decentralization of intelligence, combined with their ability to change color and texture, makes them one of the most complex and mysterious creatures in the ocean. The Eiffel Tower grows taller in summer. The Eiffel Tower, one of the most iconic structures in the world, is not as static as it seems. Due to thermal expansion, it can grow more than 6 inches taller during hot summer days. The iron that makes up the structure expands when it's heated and contracts when it cools, subtly shifting the tower's height and even slightly tilting it away from the sun. This dynamic nature isn't just a fun fact, it's a real engineering consideration. Architects and engineers had to factor in the material properties of iron and the structure's flexibility when Gustave Eiffel designed it. These seasonal movements are monitored carefully, and maintenance crews adapt to the tower's breathing to ensure the safety of visitors. It's a living lesson in how even rigid structures respond to the natural world. A day on Venus is longer than its year. Venus is one of the most Earth-like planets in terms of size and composition, but its rotation is wildly different. It takes Venus about 243 Earth days to complete a single rotation on its axis, meaning a day on Venus is longer than its 225 Earth day year. To make things stranger, Venus rotates in the opposite direction of most planets, including Earth, so if you stood on its surface, you wouldn't survive long. You'd see the sun rise in the west and set in the east. This bizarre rotation may be the result of a colossal impact early in Venus's history or gravitational interactions with the sun and Earth. The slow, retrograde rotation means the atmosphere, which whips around the planet much faster than the surface rotates, creates incredibly turbulent weather. The Library of Alexandria may have burned. More than once, the legendary Library of Alexandria, once located in ancient Egypt, is often romanticized as the greatest repository of ancient knowledge ever built. It's said to have housed hundreds of thousands of scrolls containing works of science, philosophy, literature, and history, many of which were lost forever. While popular lore points to Julius Caesar accidentally burning it down in 48 BCE, the real story is far more complicated and possibly even more tragic. Historical records suggest that the library suffered damage on multiple occasions. Besides Caesar's fire, it may have been further devastated by decrees under Emperor Theophilus in the late 4th century CE and again during the Muslim conquest of Egypt in the 7th century. There's even a theory that the original library was diminished long before Caesar's time, and that later institutions like the daughter library at the Serapeum continued its mission. The gradual, repeated destruction paints a picture not of one catastrophic event, but of a slow cultural erosion, a haunting metaphor for how knowledge can vanish not in flames, but in silence. A fungus in Oregon is the largest living organism on Earth. When we think of the largest living organism, we might picture a blue whale or a giant redwood, but the true title holder is a massive underground fungus known as Armillaria ostoya, or the honey fungus, found in Oregon's Malheur National Forest. This single fungal colony spans nearly 4 square miles, over 1,600 football fields, and is estimated to be at least 2,000 years old, possibly up to 8,000. This sprawling organism lives mostly underground, sending out root-like structures called rhizomorphs that invade tree roots and slowly kill them. Above ground, it reveals itself only occasionally through clusters of honey-colored mushrooms. Scientists discovered its massive size by analyzing genetic material across a large area and confirming it was all one continuous organism. Despite its modest appearance, this silent fungal giant is a reminder of how much of life on Earth exists out of sight, beneath our feet. Cleopatra lived closer in time to the iPhone than to the pyramids. Cleopatra VII, the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt, is often associated with the grandeur of the pyramids. But in truth, the Great Pyramid of Giza was already ancient by her time. Cleopatra was born in 69 BCE, while the Great Pyramid was completed around 2560 BCE, more than 2,400 years earlier. In contrast, the first iPhone was released just over 2,000 years after Cleopatra's death. This dramatic time gap forces a reframing of our historical perspective. Ancient Egypt civilization spanned millennia, with cultural continuity that far outlasted that of the Roman Empire or even modern Western nations. When Cleopatra reigned, the pyramids were already tourist attractions, and Egypt had been ruled by Greek-speaking elites for centuries. It's a potent reminder that ancient history isn't a monolithic block. It's a complex, layered timeline where one person's ancient past might be another's distant myth. The color blue was rare and mysterious in ancient times. In ancient languages like Greek, Hebrew, and Chinese, there were no words for the color blue, not because people couldn't see it, but because it was so rare in the natural world that it wasn't considered distinct. Even Homer described the sea as wine dark rather than blue. The first synthetic blue pigment, Egyptian blue, was invented around 2200 BCE, but it was expensive and rarely used. Natural blue dyes like indigo were difficult to extract, making blue clothing a symbol of wealth or status in many ancient societies. It wasn't until the medieval period and beyond that blue gained more cultural weight, eventually becoming associated with divinity, like the Virgin Mary's robes in Christian art, and authority. It wasn't just a color, it was an achievement. Today, it's a standard part of our visual vocabulary, but for much of history, it was a spectral mystery. Whales can live over 200 years. Bowhead whales, native to the Arctic and subarctic regions, are among the longest-living mammals on Earth. Some individuals have been found with 19th-century harpoons embedded in their blubber, revealing lifespans exceeding 200 years. One whale was estimated to be 211 years old, based on aspartic acid racemization in the eye lens, a reliable method for aging marine animals. These whales' longevity is due in part to their slow metabolism and frigid environment. Interestingly, bowheads also show remarkable resistance to age-related diseases, including cancer. Scientists studying them have identified unique genetic mutations that may help repair DNA more efficiently and suppress tumor formation. If we can unlock the secrets behind the bowhead's biology, it could lead to breakthroughs in human aging and longevity research. The human microbiome contains more genes than the human genome. The human body isn't just made of human cells. In fact, microbial cells, including bacteria, fungi, and viruses, outnumber human cells by a slight margin. More astonishingly, the genes encoded by all these microbes, our microbiome, vastly outnumber human genes by at least 100 to 1. That means your gut, skin, and even lungs are teeming with genetic information that isn't technically yours. These microbes influence digestion, immune function, mental health, and even mood. The gut-brain axis, for instance, is a rapidly growing field of research, showing how your intestinal bacteria can influence neurotransmitter production and brain activity. Some scientists even refer to the microbiome as a second brain. This microscopic ecosystem, shaped by diet, environment, and even birth method, is a major player in your health, one that modern medicine is only beginning to understand. There's a waterfall in Antarctica that bleeds red. Nestled in Antarctica's McMurdo Dry Valleys is one of the most startling natural features on Earth: blood falls. This crimson-colored waterfall seeps from the Taylor Glacier and stains the ice with what looks like flowing blood. The eerie red hue isn't from iron oxide, rust, in the way most people think. It's the result of brine rich in iron that oxidizes when exposed to air. What makes Bloodfall so fascinating isn't just its appearance, but what it reveals about microbial life. Beneath the glacier lies a hidden subglacial lake sealed off for millions of years. Inside this extreme, dark, salty environment, scientists found ancient microbes thriving without sunlight or oxygen, essentially living off the chemistry of iron and sulfur. Bloodfalls provides a real-world analogue for the kind of life that might exist beneath the icy crusts of Europa or Enceladus, moons of Jupiter and Saturn, respectively. Trees can talk through an underground network. Forests are far more interconnected than they appear. Beneath the forest floor lies a vast network of fungi, known as mycorrhizal networks or the wood wide web. These fungi form symbiotic relationships with trees, connecting their roots in a living internet of nutrient and chemical exchange. Through this network, trees can send warnings about pests, share nutrients with saplings, or even support sick neighbors. This phenomenon was first widely publicized by Dr. Suzanne Simard, whose research showed that old trees, sometimes called mother trees, play a key role in distributing resources to younger ones. In times of stress, such as drought, trees may release carbon or water through their roots, which the fungi carry to others in need. It's a form of plant communication that challenges our assumptions about consciousness, cooperation, and the boundary between individual organisms. Forests, it turns out, aren't just collections of trees. They're communities. Saturn's rings are younger than the dinosaurs. Saturn's rings are one of the most iconic features in our solar system. However, recent studies suggest they may be surprisingly young, less than 100 million years old. This means they didn't exist when dinosaurs roamed Earth. NASA's Cassini spacecraft revealed that the rings are made mostly of pure water ice, which would have darkened over billions of years due to space dust. This supports the idea that the rings were formed relatively recently, possibly from a shattered moon or comet. Despite their grandeur, the rings are also temporary. They are gradually falling into Saturn, forming a ring rain that could cause them to disappear within the next 100 million years. So we live in a cosmic moment where Saturn is wearing a beautiful, fleeting crown. Sharks are older than trees. Sharks have been swimming in Earth's oceans for over 400 million years. In contrast, the first trees didn't appear until around 350 million years ago. This means sharks predate not only dinosaurs, but also the very forests that now cover much of our planet. Despite their age, sharks have adapted through multiple mass extinction events. Some species, like the frilled shark, still resemble their ancient ancestors. Their cartilage-based skeletons and highly refined senses have made them enduring apex predators. It's a testament to evolutionary success that these ancient creatures still rule the seas. Some turtles can breathe through their butts. Certain turtle species, like the Australian Fitzroy river turtle, have an unusual trick for survival. They can absorb oxygen through specialized sacs in their cloacas, the chamber used for excretion and reproduction. This process, known as cloacal respiration, allows them to stay underwater for extended periods without surfacing. During winter months, when lakes freeze over, this adaptation becomes life-saving. They reduce their metabolic rate and rely on this alternate form of breathing. This natural scuba system is one of the many strange and fascinating adaptations in the animal kingdom. It also demonstrates how evolution crafts specialized tools for specific environments. Honey never spoils. Archaeologists have found pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that are over 3,000 years old and still perfectly edible. Honey's longevity comes from its low moisture content, acidity, and natural production of hydrogen peroxide. These factors create a hostile environment for bacteria and spoilage organisms. When stored in sealed containers, honey essentially becomes immortal. Even exposure to air doesn't spoil it, although it might crystallize. You can simply warm it up to return it to liquid form without losing its nutritional value. It's not just a sweetener, it's nature's longest-lasting food preservative. There's a lake beneath the ice in Antarctica that hasn't seen sunlight in millions of years. Lake Vostok lies beneath over 2 miles of ice in Antarctica. It is one of the largest subglacial lakes in the world. Scientists believe it has been sealed off from the surface for over 15 million years. Despite the crushing pressure and lack of sunlight, microbial life has been discovered in water samples. These microbes survive by feeding on minerals and perhaps chemical reactions involving the bedrock. Lake Vostok is a window into ancient Earth conditions and possibly a model for extraterrestrial life. It's a real-life alien ocean, hidden on our own planet. Sloths can hold their breath longer than dolphins. While dolphins can hold their breath for around 10 minutes, sloths can go up to 40 minutes underwater. This surprising ability is due to their exceptionally slow metabolism. When submerged, sloths slow their heart rate by up to a third. This minimizes their need for oxygen and allows prolonged dives in swampy habitats. It's not a behavior they use often, but it's extremely effective for escaping predators. Sloths are built for energy conservation in every aspect of life. Even their superpower is about taking things slow. Rain has a smell, and it has a name. The smell of rain on dry earth is known as petrichor. It comes from oils secreted by plants and a compound called geosmin, produced by soil-dwelling bacteria. When rain hits the ground, these molecules are released into the air. Our noses are extremely sensitive to geosmin. Even tiny amounts are detectable. This explains why petrichor is such a strong and pleasant scent. For ancient peoples, the smell may have signaled fertility and survival. Today, it's one of the most universally nostalgic aromas. The shortest war in history lasted 38 minutes. The Anglo-Zanzibar War of 1896 holds the record for the shortest war ever. It was fought between the British Empire and the Sultanate of Zanzibar. The conflict began when the Sultan refused to step down after the death of his predecessor. British forces bombarded the palace and quickly disabled Zanzibar's defenses. The Sultan fled, and the war officially ended just 38 minutes after it started. About 500 Zanzibari soldiers were killed or wounded, while the British suffered only one injury. It's a stark reminder of how quickly imperial power could reshape the world. Some metals explode on contact with water. Alkali metals like sodium, potassium, and cesium react violently with water. When dropped into water, they produce hydrogen gas and enough heat to ignite it. This causes a sudden, often explosive reaction. The more reactive the metal, the more dramatic the explosion. Cesium can shatter a beaker with just a tiny sliver. This is due to their atomic structure, which readily donates electrons. Chemistry class has never been so dangerous or so dazzling. The deepest postbox in the world is underwater. In Japan's Wakayama Prefecture, there's a functioning mailbox 10 meters below the sea. Divers can actually send waterproof postcards from it. The underwater postbox was installed as part of a promotional diving event. It became so popular that it turned into a permanent feature. Mail is collected regularly by scuba diving postal workers. The novelty and whimsy of the postbox have attracted tourists and record enthusiasts alike. It's an oceanic example of human creativity meeting practicality. Venus flytraps count their prey's steps. The Venus flytrap doesn't just snap shut on the first touch. It waits for 2 touches within about 20 seconds before closing. This helps the plant avoid wasting energy on non-prey stimuli like raindrops. Once closed, it counts additional triggers to decide whether to digest or reopen. More touches increase enzyme production to break down the prey. This behavior shows a form of primitive memory and decision-making. For a plant, it's astonishingly precise. Space smells like seared steak. Astronauts have reported that the smell of space clinging to their suits resembles burnt steak or welding fumes. This scent is caused by high-energy particles and dying stars producing complex hydrocarbons. When astronauts re-enter their spacecraft and remove helmets, the smell is briefly noticeable. It's not possible to smell space directly, as it's a vacuum, but the particles that cling to equipment bring back this curious scent. It's one of the unexpected and sensory-rich experiences of space travel. The cosmos doesn't just look strange, it smells strange too. The moon is moving away from Earth. The moon is drifting away from Earth at a rate of about 1.5 inches per year. This gradual separation is due to tidal interactions between the Earth and moon. As Earth's rotation slows, angular momentum is transferred to the moon, nudging it outward. Millions of years from now, solar eclipses will no longer occur. This movement also subtly affects Earth's rotation and length of days. It's cosmic clockwork, slowly rewriting the rules of our relationship with the moon. Even the sky is not as constant as it seems. Some fish can change their sex. Clownfish begin life as males, and the dominant individual becomes female. If a female dies, the largest male will transform into a new matriarch. This phenomenon, called sequential hermaphroditism, occurs in several fish species. It's driven by environmental and social cues. The change involves dramatic shifts in hormone levels and reproductive organs. Nature uses this flexibility to maintain stable populations. Sometimes, biology defies binary expectations. You're taller in the morning. After a night of sleep, you wake up slightly taller than when you went to bed. This is because spinal discs rehydrate and expand while lying down. During the day, gravity compresses your spine and reduces height slightly. The difference can be up to half an inch. Astronauts experience an even more dramatic version of this in microgravity. They can gain up to 2 inches in height while in space. It's a daily dance with gravity, stretching out and compressing again. There are more trees on Earth than stars in the Milky Way. The Milky Way contains an estimated 100 to 400 billion stars. It sounds like an unfathomable number until you consider the trees. Earth is home to approximately 3 trillion trees. That means for every human alive, there are nearly 400 trees. This estimate came from a 2015 study that used satellite imagery, forest inventories, and advanced algorithms. Surprisingly, this number is 8 times higher than previous estimates. Most of these trees are in tropical and boreal forests. However, the planet loses around 15 billion trees every year due to deforestation and development. So while the number is astonishing, it's shrinking. It's a humbling reminder of Earth's richness and our responsibility to protect it. Your stomach lining replaces itself every few days. The inside of your stomach is constantly under attack from its own acid. Gastric acid is strong enough to dissolve metal over time. To protect itself, the stomach grows a new lining every 3 to 5 days. Without this rapid regeneration, your digestive system would literally digest you. Specialized cells in the stomach wall produce both mucus for protection and acid for digestion. The balance is so delicate that even a small disruption can cause ulcers. This self-renewing barrier is one of the most efficient defense mechanisms in the human body. It's happening right now without you feeling a thing. Your stomach is a quiet battlefield, and it's winning. Every meal sets the stage for a microscopic miracle. There's a species of jellyfish that can technically live forever. Turritopsis doheny, a small jellyfish discovered in the Mediterranean, has a stunning ability. Instead of dying after maturity, it can revert to its earlier polyp stage. This process is called transdifferentiation, where adult cells essentially become young again. It's like a butterfly turning back into a caterpillar and then growing up once more. Under stress, injury, or starvation, it begins this reversal to avoid death. In theory, this process can repeat indefinitely, making the jellyfish biologically immortal. Of course, in practice, they often die from predation or disease, but the potential for endless rejuvenation has fascinated scientists worldwide. It could hold clues for regenerative medicine and aging research. It's nature's closest thing to a reset button. Your bones are stronger than concrete. Human bones are made of a composite material, mostly collagen for flexibility and calcium phosphate for hardness. Despite their lightweight nature, bones are incredibly strong for their size. Ounce for ounce, bone is about 5 times stronger than concrete. A cubic inch of bone can bear a load of over 19,000 pounds without breaking. The femur, your thigh bone, is the strongest in your body. It supports nearly all of your body weight when you walk or run. And yet, bones are also light enough to allow for fast, agile movement. This balance of strength and mobility is a triumph of evolution. Even skyscrapers can't match your skeleton for structural efficiency. You're built like a biomechanical masterpiece, and you didn't even have to apply for a permit. Whales can hold conversations across oceans. Whales like blue whales and fin whales can communicate over thousands of miles. They produce infrasonic sounds, frequencies too low for human hearing. These sounds travel especially well in water, where they can bounce off ocean layers and travel vast distances. A blue whale's call can be as loud as a jet engine, reaching up to 188 decibels. They use these calls to find mates, coordinate migrations, and even socialize. During World War II, submarine operators sometimes mistook whale calls for enemy sonar. Scientists believe some populations can stay in contact from one side of an ocean basin to another. It's like having a cell phone with planetary coverage, powered by biology. They live in silent, dark depths, but their voices fill the sea. Whales are the great communicators of the natural world. You have more bacterial cells than human cells. Your body is an entire ecosystem. For every human cell in your body, there are roughly 1.3 bacterial cells. That means you are, by count, more microbe than human. Most of these bacteria live in your gut, skin, and mouth. They play critical roles in digestion, immune response, and even mental health. The gut microbiome, in particular, has been linked to mood, memory, and disease resistance. When you eat, you're feeding both yourself and your microscopic companions. Scientists now refer to humans as superorganisms due to this symbiosis. Your identity isn't just yours, it's shared with trillions of invisible roommates. You're never truly alone, even on a cellular level. The world's quietest room can drive you mad. There's a chamber in Minneapolis, Minnesota that holds a strange record. It's called an anechoic chamber, and it blocks out 99.99% of all external sound. The walls, ceiling, and floor are covered in special wedges that absorb sound waves. It's so quiet that you can hear your heartbeat, your lungs, and even your bones moving. Most people can't stay inside longer than 45 minutes without discomfort. Some even report hallucinations or a loss of balance. Without external sound, the brain turns inward, amplifying internal noise. The silence becomes overwhelming, almost oppressive. It's not just quiet, it's psychologically deafening. Ironically, the quietest place on Earth is also one of the most unsettling. The average cloud weighs over 1 million pounds. Clouds look fluffy and weightless, drifting lazily through the sky. But the average cumulus cloud contains over 1 million pounds of water. That's roughly the weight of 100 elephants floating above your head. Clouds stay aloft because their water droplets are extremely small and spread over a vast area. Rising warm air keeps them suspended until they condense into rain. The physics of clouds balance gravity, evaporation, condensation, and air currents. Even a thunderhead, one of the tallest cloud types, can weigh over 10 million tons. Despite their bulk, clouds are remarkably gentle in how they release their payload. Its weather is art, held aloft by temperature and timing. Every blue sky hides an invisible behemoth. A bolt of lightning is hotter than the surface of the sun. When lightning strikes, it can heat the surrounding air to 30,000 Kelvin. That's over 5 times hotter than the sun's surface, which is about 6,000 Kelvin. This intense heat causes air to expand explosively, creating the sound of thunder. Lightning typically lasts less than a second, but carries up to 1 billion volts of electricity. It can travel at speeds of 220,000 kilometers per hour, 136,000 miles per hour. Despite its power, most lightning strikes are only a few centimeters wide. They can cause wildfires, power outages, and even fuse soil into glass. Each bolt is both a deadly discharge and a fleeting spectacle. It's a dramatic show of atmospheric energy on a planetary scale, and it reminds us that even air can burn with the right spark. Mushrooms can create their own wind. You might think mushroom spores simply drift on natural breezes, but some fungi can actually generate their own airflow. They release water vapor that cools the air around them, creating small air currents. These currents lift spores into the air and carry them away from the parent fungus. This ability allows them to spread even in dense forests or windless environments. The spore cloud can travel farther than you'd expect for such small organisms. In a sense, mushrooms use evaporation as propulsion. They're not just passive decomposers, they're active engineers. It's a surprising show of biological cunning from an organism with no brain. Fungi, silent, stationary, but far from simple. There's a planet where it rains, glass sideways. The exoplanet HD 189733b lies about 64 light-years from Earth. It's famous not just for its vivid cobalt blue color, but for its brutal weather. Winds whip across its surface at over 5,400 miles per hour, 8,700 kilometers per hour. That's nearly 7 times the speed of sound. Its atmosphere is made of silicate particles, which condense into molten glass rain. Thanks to those hurricane-force winds, this glass falls sideways instead of down. The blue color comes from scattering caused by the silicates, not from oceans or water. It's a nightmarish beauty, like Neptune, if Neptune wanted to kill you. HD 189733b challenges what we imagine planets can be. Its space weather turned up to 11. Bees can recognize human faces. Despite their tiny brains, bees are capable of facial recognition. In controlled experiments, bees learn to identify and remember images of human faces. They do this using a process called configural processing, similar to how humans do it. Bees were trained to associate certain faces with rewards like sugar water. After training, they consistently flew to the correct faces, avoiding the others. This suggests bees can break down complex images into patterns they remember. It's remarkable considering a bee's brain is the size of a sesame seed. Their ability shows that intelligence doesn't always require a large brain. Bees navigate, communicate, and now recognize you. They're much smarter than their size implies. Glass is technically a very slow liquid. At room temperature, glass looks solid and feels solid. But on a molecular level, it's actually a type of amorphous solid. This means its atoms are arranged like a liquid, but frozen in place. Unlike crystals, glass doesn't have a repeating structure. Over extremely long periods, glass can very slowly flow, almost imperceptibly. This led to the old myth that stained glass windows are thicker at the bottom due to this flow. In reality, that's more likely due to how they were made, but the physics still holds. Glass defies strict classification. It's not quite solid, not quite liquid. It's a frozen fluid, caught between states. Time doesn't stop for glass. It just moves very, very slowly. Your liver can regrow itself. The human liver is the only internal organ that can fully regenerate. You can lose up to 75% of your liver, and it will grow back to its original size. This regeneration starts within days and can complete in a matter of weeks. Ancient Greeks may have known this. Prometheus's myth has an eagle eating his liver every day, only for it to regrow. Liver cells, called hepatocytes, divide rapidly when triggered by injury. This regenerative ability makes liver transplants and partial donations possible. It's not just healing, it's biological engineering at its finest. However, constant damage from alcohol or disease can overwhelm its capacity. When treated well, your liver is a resilient, self-repairing machine. It's the closest thing you have to a built-in reboot system. There's a fungus that turns ants into zombies. The fungus Ophiocordyceps unilateralis infects carpenter ants with ruthless precision. Once inside, it hijacks the ant's nervous system, forcing it to leave its colony. The ant climbs to a high, shaded spot and clamps down on a leaf or twig in a death grip. There, the fungus slowly kills the ant and grows a stalk out of its head. This stalk releases spores onto the forest floor, infecting new ants. The fungus precisely controls the ant's final movements for optimal spore dispersal. Scientists call this a form of parasitic mind control. It's a real-world horror story playing out in slow motion across tropical forests. The ant becomes a puppet, and the fungus pulls the strings. Nature can be more chilling than fiction. Birds can see colors you can't even imagine. Humans have 3 types of color receptors, cones, in their eyes. Birds have 4, which allows them to see into the ultraviolet spectrum. What looks dull to us may glow with hidden patterns under UV light. These patterns are used in mating, navigation, and species recognition. Some flowers have evolved to reflect UV light, making them even more attractive to pollinators. Certain bird feathers, though seemingly plain to humans, are dazzling in UV. Birds live in a richer visual world than we do, layered with colors we cannot comprehend. To them, the sky and trees likely shimmer in ways we'll never perceive. Even a sparrow may see the world like a kaleidoscope. It's a reminder that reality is broader than human senses can grasp. You were the youngest person on Earth. Briefly, for a split second after you were born, you were the youngest person on the planet. In that exact moment, no one younger than you had entered the world. A few seconds or even milliseconds later, someone else took your title. This concept is constantly shifting, as over 250 babies are born every minute worldwide. It's a fleeting, shared experience that everyone alive has had. It's both humbling and strangely beautiful. Even if you don't remember it, you once held the crown of newness. We all start out at the cutting edge of time. It's a reminder of just how rapidly life renews itself. You were history's newest human, if only for a breath. A day on Uranus lasts 17 hours, but its seasons last 21 years. Uranus has one of the most extreme tilts in the solar system, 98 degrees. It essentially spins on its side, rolling through space like a barrel. Because of this tilt, each pole gets 21 Earth years of sunlight, followed by 21 years of darkness. Its rotation is fast, only 17 hours per day, but its seasons are decades long, with wild atmospheric changes. In some years, half the planet is in perpetual twilight. This bizarre orientation may have been caused by a colossal collision long ago. Its magnetic field is also tilted and off-center, adding to the strangeness. Uranus doesn't just orbit, it pirouettes. It's the oddball of the outer planets in the most graceful way. The Amazon creates its own weather. The Amazon rainforest isn't just affected by weather, it generates it. Trees release vast amounts of water vapor through transpiration. This vapor condenses into clouds, fueling the very rainfall that sustains the forest. The Amazon produces around 20 billion tons of moisture every day. It acts like a massive biotic pump, pulling moist air from the Atlantic Ocean inland. This feedback loop helps maintain global rainfall patterns and climate stability. When deforestation occurs, the system weakens, leading to reduced rain, even in distant regions. The forest quite literally breathes water into the sky. It's not just a jungle, it's an atmospheric engine. The Amazon may be a forest, but it's also one of Earth's greatest weather makers. Butterflies can taste with their feet. Butterflies have chemoreceptors on their feet that allow them to taste surfaces. When they land on a leaf, they can immediately detect whether it's suitable for laying eggs. They sense specific chemicals that signal the plant's nutritional value or toxicity. If the plant passes the test, the butterfly may lay eggs there so the larvae have food. This ability helps them find ideal host plants for their offspring. It's also how some species locate nectar sources and avoid harmful plants. In a way, butterflies walk with their tongues. Their feet are constantly analyzing their surroundings. What we think of as gentle perching is actually a gustatory investigation. Every step is a taste test. You're shedding DNA into the air, all the time. Every minute, humans shed thousands of microscopic particles, skin cells, hair fragments, and DNA. This cloud of biological material is called environmental DNA, or eDNA. You leave traces of it behind simply by breathing, moving, or speaking. Scientists can collect eDNA from air, soil, or water to identify which organisms have been present. It's revolutionizing how we track endangered species, invasive organisms, and even human presence. One study found researchers could identify zoo animals from the DNA they left floating in the air near enclosures. It's a reminder that we're never truly invisible, even when we're gone. Our genetic signatures trail behind us like ghostly fingerprints. In the near future, this might even be used in forensic science or disease tracking. Every breath you take is part of an invisible biological map. There's a planet made of diamond. A planet orbiting the pulsar PSRJ 1719-1438 is likely composed largely of crystallized carbon, essentially diamond. It's about twice the size of Earth, but has a mass similar to Jupiter. Astronomers believe it's the remnant core of a dead star, stripped of its outer layers. What remains is an ultra-dense object with carbon compressed into crystal. Its density and size suggest it could be mostly solid diamond. This celestial gem lies 4,000 light-years from Earth. It spins rapidly, completing one orbit around its pulsar host every 2.2 hours. It's sometimes nicknamed the Diamond Planet, or Lucy, after the Beatles song Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. It may not be shiny or cuttable, but it's one of the universe's most glamorous oddities. In space, even stars can leave behind treasure. Lake Baikal holds 20% of the world's freshwater. Lake Baikal in Siberia is the deepest and oldest freshwater lake in the world. It contains about 20% of the Earth's unfrozen surface freshwater. That's more than all the Great Lakes of North America combined. It reaches depths of over 5,300 feet, 1,620 meters. Formed more than 25 million years ago, it's also home to thousands of species found nowhere else. These include the Baikal seal, the only freshwater seal in the world. The lake is fed by hundreds of rivers and streams, but has only one outlet, the Angara River. Its waters are incredibly clear, often allowing visibility down to 130 feet. Despite its remoteness, Baikal has faced threats from pollution and climate change. It's not just a lake, it's a time capsule of life and geology. The coldest place on Earth is colder than dry ice. In 2018, scientists recorded a temperature of negative 144 degrees Fahrenheit, or negative 98 degrees Celsius, in East Antarctica. This is colder than the sublimation point of dry ice, which is minus 109 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 78.5 degrees Celsius. The reading came from satellite data over a high ridge between Dome Argus and Dome Fuji. The extreme cold occurs during clear winter nights when heat escapes into space. No human has ever physically stood in that precise spot. It's so cold that exhaled air would crystallize instantly. Electronics, plastics, and even metals can become brittle or fail at these temperatures. Even Antarctica's hardy microbial life goes dormant in these conditions. Wind chill isn't even necessary. It's already beyond survivable limits. It's the closest Earth gets to the temperatures on Mars. The Sahara Desert was once a lush, green paradise. About 10,000 years ago, the Sahara was not a desert. It was a thriving savanna. This period, called the African Humid Period, lasted thousands of years. Rainfall was abundant, lakes dotted the landscape, and wildlife thrived. Cave paintings from that era show people herding cattle and hunting hippos. Monsoons shifted north due to changes in Earth's orbit, bringing water to the region. Eventually, these patterns shifted back, drying out the land into the desert we know today. This transformation occurred relatively quickly, geologically speaking. The Green Sahara could return again if orbital patterns change once more. It's a powerful reminder that even the harshest places on Earth have a layered history. Today's dunes once fed rivers and shaded forests. Crows can hold grudges and remember human faces. Crows possess extraordinary memories, especially when it comes to recognizing people. They can remember a specific human face for years, especially if that person treated them poorly. Researchers wearing masks who captured and released crows were later mobbed and harassed by the birds. Even crows that didn't witness the original event learned the grudge from others, suggesting social learning. This behavior implies a level of intelligence comparable to great apes. Crows have been observed using tools, solving puzzles, and planning for future events. They even hold funerals, gathering silently around dead flock members. Their brains are small but densely packed with neurons, especially in decision-making areas. These birds don't just recognize us. They form opinions. If you cross a crow, it might just warn its friends. You technically glow in the dark. The human body emits a faint glow called bioluminescence, though it's invisible to the naked eye. This glow is caused by metabolic reactions that produce photons as a byproduct. Using ultrasensitive cameras, scientists have captured images of this natural light. The glow fluctuates over the course of the day, peaking in the late afternoon. It emanates most strongly from the face, particularly the cheeks and forehead. The intensity is 1,000 times lower than what humans can perceive. It's completely unrelated to body heat or infrared radiation. Instead, it's linked to oxidative stress, tiny chemical reactions inside cells. Though you can't see it, your body sparkles like a firefly's whisper. Biology, even when invisible, is filled with strange beauty. Bees can understand the concept of zero. Bees, despite having tiny brains, can grasp basic mathematical concepts. In experiments, they demonstrated understanding of zero as less than 1. This puts them in rare company. Only humans, some primates, and a few birds have shown this ability. Researchers trained bees to choose images with fewer elements for a reward. When given a blank image versus one with dots, they reliably chose the blank. This suggests bees recognize nothing as a numerical value. Their cognitive skills also include recognizing human faces and solving puzzles. Bees even use a symbolic dance language to communicate distances and directions. The complexity hidden inside their half-gram bodies is astonishing. Tiny minds, it turns out, can do big things. Electric eels can control their prey, like a stun gun. Electric eels emit high-voltage bursts to immobilize prey, but they also use short pulses to control movement. They can send out rapid, low-voltage signals that cause a prey's muscles to twitch involuntarily. This essentially overrides the prey's nervous system, forcing it to move or reveal its hiding spot. When the eel locates the exact position, it delivers a massive jolt, up to 600 volts, to stun the target. They've even been seen curling their bodies around prey to maximize electrical contact. These tactics resemble a biological taser with precision targeting. Electric eels don't have true teeth, so stunning is essential for swallowing food whole. They can control the intensity and frequency of electric bursts with exceptional finesse. This level of bioelectric manipulation is unique in the animal kingdom. They're predators with a built-in remote control. The tongue map is a myth. All taste buds detect every flavor. Many school textbooks showed a tongue map, suggesting different regions detect specific tastes. According to this idea, sweetness was tasted at the tip, bitterness at the back, and so on. But this concept is scientifically inaccurate and has been debunked. All areas of the tongue contain receptors for sweet, salty, sour, bitter, and umami. There may be slight regional differences in sensitivity, but nothing exclusive. The tongue's surface is covered in papillae, each holding taste buds with multiple receptor types. These buds send signals to the brain via complex neural pathways. The map was based on a mistranslation of a 1901 German paper. Despite its popularity, it was never a real representation of how taste works. Flavor perception is a whole-mouth, multi-sensory experience. There's a lake in Tanzania that turns animals into stone. Lake Natron, located in northern Tanzania, is one of the most alkaline bodies of water on Earth. Its pH levels can reach 10.5, nearly as caustic as ammonia. The lake's waters are saturated with sodium carbonate and other minerals from volcanic ash. Any animal that falls in and dies is calcified, preserved in eerie, stony detail. Photographer Nick Brandt captured haunting images of birds that appeared turned to stone. The water's extreme chemistry desiccates and hardens soft tissues rapidly. Flamingos nest nearby because few predators can survive the lake's harsh conditions. Its redness comes from salt-loving microorganisms that thrive in the alkaline soup. Despite the horror movie imagery, life has uniquely adapted to thrive there. It's a place where the line between life and death is preserved in salt. Spiders can fly using electricity. Some spiders travel through the air using a method called ballooning. They release silk threads that catch the wind and lift them into the sky. But wind isn't always necessary. Spiders can also sense and harness the Earth's electric field. This electric charge creates an upward force strong enough to lift their lightweight bodies. In lab experiments, spiders began ballooning in the absence of any air movement. Their bodies have tiny sensory hairs that detect shifts in electrical potential. This ability allows them to soar for miles and even reach altitudes of several kilometers. Charles Darwin once observed ballooning spiders landing on the HMS Beagle far from shore. They are the only animals known to engage in electrostatic flight without wings. Spiders, in essence, can float on invisible waves of electricity. Some frogs can survive, being frozen solid. The wood frog of North America can endure winter by freezing itself alive. Up to 70% of its body water can turn to ice during hibernation. Its heart stops beating, and all brain activity ceases. The frog produces glucose and urea in massive amounts, which act as antifreeze. These compounds prevent ice crystals from forming inside cells, which would cause fatal damage. Instead, ice forms in the body cavity and between cells, but not within them. When spring returns, the frog thaws out and resumes normal bodily functions. It hops away as if nothing happened after technically being dead for months. Few vertebrates exhibit this level of freeze tolerance. It's a real-life example of suspended animation. An octopus can edit its own RNA to adapt instantly. The octopus doesn't rely solely on evolution to adapt. It rewrites itself in real time. Octopuses can modify their RNA, which acts as a working copy of their genes. This allows them to adapt neural functions without altering their DNA. They use this ability especially in cold water to regulate brain chemistry. While most animals favor DNA-based mutations over generations, octopuses bypass this delay. They can change how proteins are made in response to the environment. It's like reprogramming your body on the fly without waiting for evolution. This flexibility may contribute to their extraordinary intelligence. However, they sacrifice genetic efficiency in favor of adaptability. They are one of the rare known animals to do this on such a large scale. Cows have best friends and get stressed when separated. Cows are deeply social animals with strong emotional bonds. Studies show they form close attachments to specific individuals in their herd. When separated from their best friends, cows show signs of elevated heart rate and stress hormones. They vocalize more and exhibit anxious behavior, such as pacing or refusing to eat. When reunited, their stress levels return to normal quickly. Farmers have noted that happier cows tend to produce more milk. Some ethical farms allow cows to form stable social groups for this reason. This emotional intelligence rivals that of dogs and even some primates. Cows are not mindless grazers. They are sensitive and relational. Even livestock have friendships worth protecting. You can't hum while holding your nose. Try to hum with your nose pinched shut. It's physically impossible. Humming requires air to escape through your nose to create the sound. Without that airflow, the vibration is immediately cut off. Many people don't realize they hum through their nose rather than their mouth. It's a strange mix of vocal cord vibration and nasal resonance. This fun quirk is often used in classroom science demonstrations. It's not dangerous, but it does highlight how crucial airflow is to sound. The body has unexpected mechanics behind even simple actions. Your voice is a wind instrument more than a string one. Sometimes the smallest actions reveal the strangest truths. Saturn's density is so low it could float in water. Saturn is the only planet in our solar system less dense than water. Its average density is just 0.687 grams per cubic centimeter. If you could find a bathtub big enough, Saturn would actually float. This is because the planet is made mostly of hydrogen and helium. Despite being the second largest planet, it's one of the lightest by volume. Its mass is spread over a massive gas envelope, making it extremely puffy. Its iconic rings add little to its mass. They're thin and mostly made of ice. Saturn's low density challenges our idea of what a planet can be. It's a giant balloon tethered by gravity. In cosmic terms, it's more cloud than stone. You shed your entire outer skin. Every month. The outermost layer of your skin, the epidermis, is constantly being renewed. Humans shed around 500 million skin cells every single day. In 1 month, you replace your entire outer skin layer. Most of the dust in your home is actually made of dead skin flakes. By weight, you leave behind more of yourself in a room than you probably realize. These skin cells are sloughed off naturally by friction, air, and hygiene. New cells grow at the base of the epidermis and rise to the surface. It's a conveyor belt of biological renewal. Your skin is a living, breathing, self-sustaining barrier. You wear a fresh version of yourself more often than you think. Pineapples don't grow on trees. They grow from the ground. Despite their tropical look, pineapples don't hang from branches. Each pineapple grows from the center of a leafy plant close to the ground. The plant is short and spiky, almost like a large aloe vera. It takes about 18 to 24 months to grow a single fruit. Each eye on a pineapple is actually a separate flower that has fused together. The fruit is technically a collection of berries growing together around a core. After harvest, the plant usually dies unless it produces a second fruit. The crown of the fruit can be replanted to grow a new pineapple. The whole process is slow and labor-intensive. Your morning pineapple chunks are the result of a surprisingly patient plant. The human nose can detect over 1 trillion scents. Though long believed to detect only 10,000 smells, recent studies revealed our noses are far more powerful. Researchers exposed volunteers to complex odor mixtures to test limits. Results showed the average person could distinguish between over 1 trillion unique scent combinations. Our olfactory system has about 400 types of scent receptors. Each receptor can detect multiple molecules, and the brain decodes combinations. This sensory ability evolved to detect food, danger, and social cues. Dogs have a stronger sense of smell, but humans are no slouches. Scent can trigger powerful memories due to its link with the limbic system. Smell is arguably our most emotionally potent sense. You're carrying a chemical supercomputer right between your eyes. Male seahorses are the ones who give birth. In a role reversal almost unheard of in the animal kingdom, male seahorses carry and deliver babies. After mating, the female deposits her eggs into a special pouch on the male's abdomen. Inside this pouch, the male fertilizes the eggs and incubates them for weeks. The environment inside the pouch regulates salinity, temperature, and oxygen levels to match the ocean. During gestation, the male's body undergoes contractions and hormonal shifts like mammalian pregnancies. When it's time to give birth, the male experiences intense spasms to expel the young. He can give birth to anywhere from a dozen to over 1,000 tiny seahorses at once. These newborns are independent from birth and immediately drift off into the ocean. This biological role flip is unique among vertebrates and challenges traditional ideas of gender in reproduction. Nature doesn't just blur lines, it redraws them entirely. There's a planet where it rains iron. The exoplanet WASP 76b experiences some of the strangest weather in the known universe. On the day side, temperatures soar above 4,300 degrees Fahrenheit, or 2,400 degrees Celsius, hot enough to vaporize metals. Iron particles become gaseous in this furnace-like atmosphere. Powerful winds carry the vapor to the planet's night side. There, the temperature plummets by over 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit, allowing the iron vapor to condense. As a result, molten iron literally rains from the sky on the dark side of the planet. The planet is tidally locked, meaning the same side always faces its star. This extreme temperature differential fuels hurricane-force winds circling the globe. WASP 76b is located 640 light-years away in the constellation Pisces. Its metal storms make Earth's weather look like a mild spring drizzle. Your brain can generate false memories that feel completely real. Human memory is not a perfect recording, it's a reconstruction that can be deeply flawed. Studies have shown people can be led to remember entire events that never occurred. Psychologists like Elizabeth Loftus have demonstrated how simple suggestions can implant vivid false memories. In one study, participants were told they had been lost in a mall as a child, and many recalled detailed, emotional stories about it. Brain scans reveal that false memories activate the same regions as real ones. The brain fills in missing information with assumptions, cultural cues, or imagination. Even eyewitness testimony can be dangerously unreliable due to memory distortion. This malleability is one reason why interrogation techniques must be carefully controlled. It's not just what you forget, it's what you remember that never happened. Your brain is a brilliant, creative liar hiding behind total sincerity. Your stomach has a second brain. The human digestive system contains over 100 million neurons. This is known as the enteric nervous system, and it operates independently of the brain. It can control digestion, enzyme release, and muscle contractions on its own. It even produces around 90% of the body's serotonin, which affects mood. Some scientists call it the second brain because of its autonomy. You can sever the vagus nerve, the connection to the brain, and digestion still continues. It's why emotions like anxiety can cause real stomach discomfort. Gut health has been increasingly linked to mental health in recent studies. Bacteria in your gut can influence behavior via chemical signals. Your gut isn't just processing food, it's processing information. Your bones are constantly dissolving and rebuilding. Human bones are not fixed structures. They're in a constant state of renewal. Cells called osteoclasts break down bone tissue, while osteoblasts build it back up. This cycle allows bones to repair micro-damage and adapt to stress. You essentially get a new skeleton about every 10 years. Calcium, phosphorus, and collagen are recycled continuously in this process. Weightlifting and impact exercises stimulate bone density and strength. Inactivity or zero-gravity environments, like space, can dramatically weaken bones. Conditions like osteoporosis occur when breakdown outpaces rebuilding. Bone is one of the few tissues in the body that fully regenerates itself. It's like a construction site that never stops working, even while you sleep. There's a place in the ocean where the compass doesn't work. The Bermuda Triangle has long fascinated people, but the real anomaly is even more bizarre. In certain parts of the Sargasso Sea, magnetic compasses can malfunction unexpectedly. This happens because Earth's magnetic field isn't perfectly uniform. Local variations in mineral composition can distort magnetic readings. Sailors in centuries past noted eerie silence, glassy waters, and dead winds in the region. Early ships reported being becalmed for weeks, drifting without escape. The Sargasso Sea is also home to massive floating mats of seaweed called sargassum. It's the only sea on Earth with no land boundaries, defined entirely by ocean currents. Eels from both Europe and North America travel here to spawn, but no one has seen it happen. It remains one of the ocean's strangest and least understood regions. Some mountains grow taller every year. The Himalayas are still rising due to tectonic activity. India is crashing into the Eurasian plate at a rate of about 2 inches per year. This uplifts the Himalayan range, including Mount Everest. Everest grows taller by several millimeters annually. However, erosion and earthquakes can offset this growth locally. A major quake in 2015 slightly shifted Everest's summit position. The process has been ongoing for tens of millions of years. The Himalayas are the youngest major mountain range on Earth. Geological uplift is still shaping the landscape before our eyes. The ground beneath us is not nearly as still as it seems. Some whales have earwax plugs that record their life history. Baleen whales accumulate waxy earplugs as they age, much like tree rings. These plugs can be over a foot long and contain alternating light and dark layers. Each pair of layers represents roughly 6 months of life. Scientists can determine the whale's age by counting them, but more than that, they can detect stress hormones and pollutants locked in the wax. This reveals what the whale experienced year by year. From migration stress to changes in diet, the earwax records it all. It's one of the only biological diaries found in large mammals. This data has helped track the long-term effects of ocean noise and plastic pollution. Even after death, these giants continue to tell their stories. Lightning can create glass in the ground. When lightning strikes sandy soil, it can create a structure called a fulgurite. The intense heat, over 30,000 degrees Celsius, melts the sand instantly. This forms a glassy, tube-like structure beneath the surface. Fulgurites can extend several feet underground depending on the strike. They preserve the shape of the lightning's path as it traveled into the earth. Each one is unique and can resemble coral, antlers, or gnarled roots. They are sometimes mistaken for fossils or crystals. Collectors and geologists consider them natural lightning fossils. They're among the few visible remnants of a single moment of atmospheric violence. It's lightning captured and solidified into a permanent sculpture. The world's largest deep cave fish was discovered recently. In 2019, scientists discovered a giant cavefish in a remote part of India. It lives in subterranean rivers with no natural light. Despite the dark, the fish is over a foot long, enormous for a cave species. It has no eyes and no pigmentation, rendering it pale and ghost-like. Its adaptations include heightened touch sensitivity and low metabolic needs. It may have descended from surface-dwelling ancestors that became trapped underground. The fish's size challenges assumptions about energy availability in cave ecosystems. Normally, life in caves is small and slow-growing due to food scarcity. This species suggests that cave rivers may be richer than once thought. Its discovery rewrote part of the map of known subterranean biodiversity. Some volcanoes can erupt without lava. Certain volcanoes are powered not by molten rock, but by superheated mud and gas. These are called mud volcanoes, and they behave very differently from typical eruptions. They erupt with a slurry of clay, water, and volatile hydrocarbons. Temperatures can reach hundreds of degrees, yet there's no magma involved. Some mud volcanoes are triggered by seismic activity or gas pressure. They can produce towers of bubbling mud and fire known as flaming fountains. The largest mud volcano eruption on record lasted for years in Indonesia. Unlike lava flows, the mud spreads slowly but covers large areas. These eruptions can reshape the landscape over time. They remind us that volcanism takes many surprising forms. The oldest piece of Earth is over 4.4 billion years old. A tiny zircon crystal found in Australia holds the title of Earth's oldest known material. It was discovered in the Jack Hills of Western Australia. The crystal is dated to approximately 4.375 billion years ago. That's only about 160 million years after Earth first formed. Zircon is incredibly durable and resists heat, erosion, and chemical change. This particular grain preserved a chemical signature of ancient water. Its isotopic composition suggests early Earth had continents and perhaps oceans. The crystal is smaller than a grain of sand, but holds immense information. It's a time capsule from a time before any known life existed, and it predates even the oldest known rocks on the planet. Certain birds can sleep while flying. Frigate birds are known to stay airborne for weeks at a time. They can fly for thousands of miles without landing. During these marathon flights, they sleep in brief bursts while gliding. They use a type of sleep called unihemispheric slow-wave sleep. This allows one half of their brain to rest while the other stays alert. The awake hemisphere manages flight control and navigation. Frigate birds can sleep in the air for only seconds at a time, yet function fully. They spend most of their lives over the open ocean, rarely touching land. Sleep data was collected via EEG monitors attached to wild birds. It's proof that rest and motion can coexist in extreme animal behavior. You can hear rhythms faster than you can see them. The human auditory system is significantly faster at processing time-based information than the visual system. You can detect tiny differences in sound intervals within a few milliseconds. Visual stimuli, on the other hand, take much longer to register and resolve. That's why a movie at 24 frames per second looks smooth. Your brain fills in the blanks. But if sound glitches by even a few milliseconds, it's instantly noticeable. Musicians rely on this precision to synchronize rhythms in real time. The brain has specialized structures for temporal resolution in sound, including the auditory cortex. This helps explain why we can identify musical beats or syllables almost instantly. It's one reason sound is often used to signal urgency, like alarms or sirens. Your ears are nature's stopwatch, finely tuned to the beat of the world. Pine trees can scream when they're stressed. Under extreme drought, certain trees emit ultrasonic clicks that humans can't hear. These sounds are caused by air bubbles forming in the water channels of the plant. The phenomenon is known as cavitation and disrupts water flow inside the tree. Pine trees are among the species known to produce these stress signals. Researchers have captured these ultrasonic emissions using sensitive microphones. The clicks become more frequent the longer the drought persists. While plants don't scream in pain, the signals can indicate ecological distress. In the future, we may use them to monitor forest health in real time. It's an invisible language of water tension and survival. The trees are talking. We just needed the right ears to hear it. Peacocks can shake their tail feathers faster than a hummingbird's wings. Male peacocks vibrate their tail feathers during courtship displays at frequencies around 25 times per second. This produces a low, rustling sound that females find attractive. It's not just visual display, the sound and vibration are crucial to the ritual. The motion is called train rattling and is carefully controlled by the peacock. Despite their size, the birds can maintain this vibration for over 10 seconds at a time. By contrast, a hummingbird flaps its wings about 10 to 15 times per second. Peacocks use the resonance of their own feathers to amplify this sound. Each feather acts like a musical instrument in a choreographed performance. Females can even sense the vibrations through the air, not just their ears. It's a sensory symphony of sight, sound, and motion. Caves can form without water. While most caves are carved by water erosion, some are created by volcanic activity. These are called lava tubes, and they form when the surface of a lava flow hardens while molten lava still flows beneath. When the lava drains out, a hollow tunnel remains. Lava tubes can extend for miles underground. Their smooth, rounded ceilings contrast with jagged water-carved caves. They are common in places like Hawaii and Iceland. Some of the largest lava tubes could shelter future lunar explorers. That's because similar structures have been found on the Moon and Mars. These caves provide protection from radiation and temperature extremes. They're nature's own ready-made space bunkers. Octopuses can change not just color, but texture. Octopuses are famous for their ability to change color, but their camouflage doesn't stop there. They can also alter the texture of their skin to mimic rocks, coral, or sand. Specialized muscles called papillae allow them to raise or flatten bumps on their skin. This gives them an almost surreal ability to look spiky, smooth, or ridged at will. Combined with rapid color changes from chromatophores, their disguise is nearly perfect. Even trained marine biologists can overlook a resting octopus completely. This camouflage isn't just for hunting, it's crucial for avoiding predators. Some species can shift their look in a fraction of a second. It's a dynamic costume change backed by both neurology and muscle control. Few animals blend so completely into their surroundings, in both color and texture. A single spoonful of neutron star would weigh billions of tons. Neutron stars are the collapsed remnants of massive stars gone supernova. Incredibly dense, they pack more mass than the Sun into a sphere the size of a city. A single teaspoon of neutron star matter would weigh about 6 billion tons. That's equivalent to the weight of a mountain compressed into your palm. This density crushes atoms, forcing electrons into protons to form neutrons. The result is a soup of degenerate matter unlike anything on Earth. The surface gravity is so strong it warps space-time and bends light. Standing on one would be impossible. You'd be crushed instantly. Even though they are small, their gravitational pull rivals black holes. They're among the strangest and most extreme objects in the universe. Lightning can strike the same place repeatedly and often does. Despite the common saying, lightning does strike the same place more than once. In fact, some places are struck hundreds of times a year. The Empire State Building is hit by lightning around 20 to 25 times annually. Tall, isolated structures with metal components attract electrical discharges. Lightning rods are designed to direct these strikes safely to the ground. The misconception likely arose from the odds of being struck in the open. Lightning is drawn to the path of least resistance in the sky's electric field. During storms, the same cloud-to-ground channel can be reused repeatedly. Nature rarely follows simple rules or maxims. When it comes to lightning, history repeats. There's a species of ant that practices farming. Some species of ants, like leafcutter ants, actually farm fungus inside their colonies. They carefully cut leaves and bring them underground to feed their fungal gardens. The ants tend these fungal crops by removing pests and applying antibiotics secreted from their bodies. This mutualistic relationship has existed for millions of years, making it one of the oldest examples of agriculture. Without their fungus farms, these ants would struggle to survive in nutrient-poor environments. This behavior shows complex social organization and environmental manipulation. It's a tiny society that mirrors human farming practices in surprising detail. The ants and their fungi depend on each other in a delicate ecological balance. This tiny form of agriculture predates human farming by millions of years. Nature often invents sustainable solutions before humans do. Some crystals can grow to enormous sizes over thousands of years. The Cave of the Giants in Mexico contains gypsum crystals up to 36 feet long. These crystals formed over hundreds of thousands of years in extreme heat and humidity. The conditions required are so specific that such large crystals are incredibly rare. They grow when mineral-rich water evaporates slowly in a protected environment. The slow growth allows atoms to arrange perfectly, creating dazzling geometric shapes. Inside the cave, the air is hot and humid, with temperatures reaching over 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Scientists study these crystals to understand geological processes and crystal growth. Their size and clarity make them among the most extraordinary natural mineral formations on Earth. Walking among them feels like entering a fantasy world made of light and geometry. Such crystals reveal the patient power of nature's slow artistry. There are singing sands that produce sounds when you walk on them. Certain beaches and deserts feature sand that emits sounds when disturbed. This phenomenon, called singing sands or booming dunes, occurs under very specific conditions. The sand grains must be very uniform in size and coated with a smooth surface. When the sand moves, the friction between grains produces low-frequency vibrations. These vibrations travel through the dune, creating a booming or singing sound audible for miles. The sound can resemble a drumbeat, whistle, or even a bass hum. Ancient peoples often considered these dunes mystical or sacred. Scientists study the effect to understand granular physics and acoustic resonance. Not all sandy places can sing. Only a select few have the right composition and environment. Walking across these dunes is like playing a giant natural musical instrument. A single bolt of lightning can contain up to 1 billion volts of electricity. Lightning bolts are one of nature's most powerful electrical phenomena. A single strike can carry up to 1 billion volts of electricity. This enormous energy is released in a fraction of a second. The intense current heats the surrounding air to temperatures around 30,000 kelvins, 5 times hotter than the sun's surface. This rapid heating causes the air to expand explosively, creating thunder. Lightning can strike at speeds up to 220,000 miles per hour. It can carry tens of thousands of amperes of current. This incredible force can cause wildfires, power outages, and structural damage. Despite this, the exact path of a lightning bolt is unpredictable and chaotic. Lightning remains one of the most awe-inspiring and studied natural wonders. Some fish can survive without water by breathing air. The lungfish is a unique fish that can breathe air using lungs. During droughts, lungfish burrow into mud and enter a state of estivation, slowing their metabolism. They survive months or even years buried in moist soil until water returns. Their ability to breathe air helps them survive in oxygen-poor environments. Lungfish have both gills and lungs, allowing them to switch between aquatic and aerial respiration. They are considered living fossils, existing for over 400 million years. Their adaptations provide clues to how vertebrates transitioned from water to land. Lungfish behavior is a remarkable example of resilience and survival. They demonstrate nature's capacity for flexibility in harsh conditions. In some ways, they bridge the gap between fish and amphibians. A star can spin so fast it distorts its shape. Some stars, called rapid rotators, spin so fast that they become oblate spheroids. Their equators bulge out due to centrifugal force, while their poles flatten. An example is the star Altair, which rotates roughly once every 9 hours. This spin rate is incredibly fast compared to the Sun's 25-day rotation. The distortion affects the star's temperature and brightness across its surface. Rapid rotation can lead to complex magnetic fields and stellar winds. It influences the star's evolution and lifespan. Astronomers use these stars to study stellar physics under extreme conditions. Such stars show how rotation shapes cosmic bodies in dramatic ways. Spinning stars remind us the universe is full of dynamic, ever-changing forms. The oldest known animal on Earth was a sponge-like creature. A fossil of an ancient sea sponge dating back approximately 600 million years is the oldest known animal fossil. This creature lived long before complex animals evolved during the Ediacaran period. Sponges represent some of the earliest multicellular life forms, with porous bodies filtering water for food. They are ancestors to all animals, offering insight into the origins of animal life. The fossil record shows sponges survived several mass extinction events, proving their resilience. Modern sponges have retained many characteristics of these primordial animals. Studying ancient sponges helps scientists understand the transition from single-celled to complex life. They serve as living windows into Earth's distant biological past. The fossil demonstrates how early life was aquatic and simple. It highlights how minimal structures can support entire ecosystems. The shortest commercial flight in the world lasts less than 2 minutes. The flight between Westray and Papa Westray in Scotland's Orkney Islands covers just 1.7 miles. The scheduled flight time is officially 2 minutes, but can be completed in as little as 47 seconds. This route exists because the islands are separated by treacherous waters that can be difficult to navigate by boat. The plane used is a small twin-engine aircraft, often a Britten-Norman Islander. The flight provides vital connections for island residents and services. It's recognized by the Guinness World Records as the shortest scheduled flight. Despite its brevity, it's a crucial lifeline for the local community. Tourists often take the flight for the novelty and scenic views. The route exemplifies how aviation adapts to unique geographic challenges. It highlights how even tiny distances can require creative transport solutions. Rats laugh when tickled. Scientists discovered that rats emit high-pitched chirping sounds when playfully tickled. These sounds are inaudible to humans without special equipment, but are associated with positive emotions. Rats also show physical signs of enjoyment, like chasing and wrestling playfully. This laughter-like behavior indicates complex social emotions in rodents. Understanding this helps in studying animal welfare and cognition. It challenges the notion that laughter is unique to humans or primates. These vocalizations help strengthen social bonds among rats. Research suggests the neural mechanisms for joy may be evolutionarily ancient. Tickling rats and their laughter provide insights into emotions across species. It's a reminder that even small animals experience pleasure and play. The world's largest flower can grow over 3 feet wide. Rafflesia arnoldi, found in Southeast Asia, produces the largest individual flower on Earth. Its bloom can reach over 3 feet, 1 meter, in diameter, and weigh up to 15 pounds. The flower is parasitic, growing on the roots of specific vines and lacking leaves or stems. It emits a strong odor of rotting flesh, attracting carrion flies for pollination. Because it doesn't photosynthesize, it depends entirely on its host plant. The flower only blooms for a few days, making sightings rare. Its extraordinary size and smell have earned it the nickname corpse flower. conservation efforts protect its fragile rainforest habitat. Rafflesia represents a remarkable evolutionary adaptation to parasitism. It's a botanical giant unlike any other. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.